מזמור לדוד, אדוני רואי לו אחסר, בנותיה שירביצני עמד לוחות ירעלני. נפשי ישובב ינחני במעלה צדק למען שמו. גם כי ילך בגיא צל מוות, לא ירא כי אתה עמדי. שבטך ומשענתך המה ינחמוני. תערוך לפני שולחן נגד צורריי. דשנת והשמן ראשי כוסי רוויה. אך טוב וחסד ירדפוני כל ימי חיי. ושבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים. A Psalm of David. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
אשת חיל נמצא, ורחוק מפני מנהרך, ועתק בה לב בעלה ושלום לב יחסר. כמותה טוב ולא רע, כל ימי חייך. An exemplary woman who could find her, she is more valuable than pearls. Her husband's heart trusts in her. He will lack no benefit. She will repay his favors, not his insults, in all her life circumstances. She girds herself with strength and vigorously exerts her limbs. She stretches out her palm to the poor and extends her hands to the needy. She need not fear for her household because of snow, for her entire household is clothed in scarlet. She makes bed coverings for herself, linen and purple in her garment. Her husband is well known in the city gates as he sits among the elders of the land. Strength and beauty are her garment. She smiles as she faces the future. She opens her mouth with wisdom. The teaching of kindness is upon her tongue. Her children rise up and extol her. So does her husband praise her. Many women have excelled, but you have surpassed them all. Charm is false in beauty, empty breath. A woman who fears the Lord, she is praiseworthy. Commend her for the fruit of her hands, and let her deeds praise her in the city gates. She was strong, determined, demanding in her own special way. She won equality in her life. If you can fix it, do so. Her dreams. Mama, I love you.
Truth be told, I'm still in a daze. Because my mother, our mother, despite nearing her 99th birthday, was not supposed to die. Somehow I was sure that she would make it at least to 120 or more. And while I know it doesn't make any sense, after all, she was slowing down. And I know she had a growing list of physical challenges. Despite it all, somehow, I imagined this day would never come. Because our mother was the strongest, kindest, warmest, and most determined person on earth. She was our matriarch, our inspiration, and our point of pride as we would brag that she was still going to work, still signing checks, still managing her own affairs, still sharp as ever, and blessed with an amazing memory for people. She was still on top of everything until yesterday. In fact, when she went to the hospital, she took along graduation, anniversary, and birthday cards to prepare for the upcoming anniversaries, birthdays, and graduations in June, July, in August every event that she expected to celebrate. Just this past Sunday, she was at Hillel Torah for her great-grandson's kindergarten graduation, and then at the academy for her great-granddaughter's graduation. Last week, while driving her to a doctor's appointment, she had me make phone calls so that she could catch up with friends and relatives that she owed a call. And my number wasn't in my phone, she gave it to me because she knew everyone's number by heart. Her head, as she liked to say, was, thank God, still on straight. And she was still herself in so many ways. But then yesterday came, and the unthinkable, the unimaginable happened. And I've been charged by my siblings to share with you some of the many lessons of life our mother taught us. She taught us how to be strong, telling us the story of how, as a young teacher in public school, a student was injured on the playground, and that she was the one who jumped in to care for him despite all of the blood. And then there is the near apocryphal story, but entirely true story, of the day my father died 43 years ago. It was on Shabbos, the day of my cousin David's bar mitzvah. My father had cancer, and my mother was caring for him. And when it came time to leave for shul, my mother told us to go, and that maybe our father would be able to come along later, keeping from us the fact that he had already passed away several hours before. She didn't tell us because she didn't want to share a simcha, and she stayed alone with him at home until we came home from the bar mitzvah, and only then did she tell us. Soon after Shiva, our mother jumped into the family business, which she was able to do because her father had insisted that she get a broker's license and an insurance license just in case. Suddenly, she transitioned from being an elementary school teacher to a business executive, the senior vice president of Matanky Realty Group, where she continued to work, still attending meetings either in person or on Zoom, as recently as last week. She was so strong, proving over and over again that she was stronger than us, fighting every step of the way to remain independent, to live on our own, and to be part of every simcha, even when we thought it was too much. She knew better. Just last year, when one of our cousins passed away in Israel, she wanted to go and see the family. She told me that she wanted to be there, even if it was only for 2 days, just to see his children, our cousins, the Marks. And despite her difficulty in walking, we traveled to Israel. And she was there for the Shloshim. She visited her friends, and of course, she had to go to the hotel despite the difficulty walking. And then we came home after 3 days. After all, at her age, we had to take it a little slower. She was strong, and she was determined, or as I often said, she was somewhere on the border between determined and maybe even a little bit stubborn, which is the reason she refused to use a walker in public and only went around with a crutch. But that determination kept her going. It kept her engaged, and it kept her involved, young and alive. It kept her independent, despite needing a little more assistance from the family, especially from my daughter, Chani, and my cousins, Dina and Lisa, who were there so often when we needed them, when she needed them, and even just to visit. Because everyone visited her. All her nephews and nieces, all her cousins, friends, and of course, our children, the grandchildren and great-grandchildren, for whom she always had her stock of lollipops and treats waiting in the kitchen cabinet. She was Grandma Trude, even to the friends of her grandchildren. And she was Aunt Trude, to the friends of her nieces and nephews, and even to her doctors, whose care was extraordinary and to whom we're so very grateful. Because our mother's determination translated not only into a fierce love of life, but a joy, a simcha that was contagious. She never complained, except about losing her driver's license, which she felt was totally unjust. She was refined and regal, and yet also down to earth. She was a businesswoman, a balagusta, a volunteer, a role model, and a fixture in our lives and the lives of so many in our community. But more than anything else, our mother was our family matriarch who cherished her family and did everything and anything for us. When we were little, we lived in a family building with her parents, our grandparents, on the first floor, a great aunt and uncle also on the first floor, another great aunt and uncle on the second floor, and we were on the third. It was our own little kibbutz of sorts, but not much different than the way she grew up. During the Depression and into the war, surrounded by cousins and aunts and uncles and grandparents, many of whom worked in the same profession and all of whom remained so very close. Often she would tell us how lucky she was to see those values carried forward as we remained close with each other and our cousins, and how our children are all so close, and now our children's children are as well. Or as my daughter Chani remembered as a child, before the days when the Eruv was built in this neighborhood, all 7 of our children would pack up every Shabbos to move into Grandma's house. So we'd be together with her and with Grandma Clara, blessed memory. We did it every week, even if it meant that all of the cousins stuffed into one room and everyone sharing the one bathroom upstairs. At night, Grandma would read books to us and tell stories of when our parents were young. And in the mornings, we'd come down for breakfast, and Grandma would make us apples and peanut butter or strawberries and sugar. And we'd have Grandma Clara's rugelach, even though we never liked the raisins. That's how we learned from a very young age, remembered Chani, of the importance of family and the need to care for each other, especially parents and grandparents. And our mother was at the center of it all. She taught us, prodded us, and repeatedly told us to look out for one another and to stay in touch with each other. But she didn't really have to tell us those things because we learned them from her. From the way we saw her make her phone calls and write her notes to friends and family every week. The trees that she would buy from K.I.N.S for special occasions, the donations she made to the shul, to the schools, the organizations, to celebrate events and smachot, and most importantly, the way she cared for the family. We learned it all from her, from the way smachot were always celebrated with the immediate family, which in our family meant first, second, third, and sometimes fourth cousins, just to start. And we learned it from the way she cared for our grandmother after her father, our grandfather, passed away. It's not that my grandmother always needed it. She too was fiercely independent. But every Shabbat and every Yom Tov, after my grandfather passed away for nearly 20 years, my grandmother would move into our house to be with us. And then when she took ill at 96, my mother took care of her, moved her hospital bed into the den, and oversaw the hospice care she received until she passed away. And we saw it in the way she was there for my cousins, the Shiner girls, when their mother passed away. And we saw it in so many other ways. It's from her that I learned to call my mother every day in the morning on my way to work, up to and including yesterday morning. when I reminded her of the risks of the procedure she was about to undergo, to which she responded that the doctors already explained it to her. She knew, but she wanted to go ahead. And by the way, if I didn't call my mother by 7:30 in the morning, she would call me just to make sure everything was all right, which she knew it was, but it was her gentle way of giving me a little bit of musr for not having called her that morning. Family was everything to her, which is why every relative who could be here is here, from east and west, and her grandchildren in Israel are watching over Zoom. And it's why her pictures, the pictures of her surrounded with children and grandchildren, adorn our homes, just as our pictures adorn hers. It's why every Shabbat after my grandmother passed away, she's been lighting my grandmother's laughter in addition to her own. It's the reason she treasured items from the Babas and the Zaydas, the reason she used the Tchina, the Yiddish prayer book, when she benched lift, and even the reason she took over my grandmother's job of making chopped liver every week until just about a month ago. It was family that she held onto so tightly. Family members who were no longer, and those of us who are fortunate to still be here, for whom she played such a pivotal role in our rearing and shaping of our lives and our values. All of us, our children and our grandchildren. This week, we're reciting Parashat Ba'aletcha, which opens with the mitzvah of lighting the menorah. Curiously, when describing the mitzvah, the Torah doesn't use the typical verb for lighting lahadlik, but rather ba'alotcha, when you raise up the flame. According to Rashi, this is because the Kohen was commanded not simply to light the wick, but to hold the fire in place until the flame rose on its own, which is not only a description of a ritual of so long ago, but of my mother's entire modus operandi of life. She didn't just enlighten our lives, tell us things, and then move on. She stayed with us until the flame, the light, the traditions, the values, the beliefs, the warmth, the determination, and the love of family burned brightly in our lives. There are so many more stories I could share of her jumping in during the war to teach Talmud Torah, the strength of conviction she had to insist that we all received a day school education, her patience and pride for each of us, the way everyone who was with her, she made feel as if they were the most important person in the room, even though we all knew that we were the most important person. And even of the time I took her to the White House, and after being stopped by the Secret Service, another story unto itself, how somehow she managed to make her way from the back of the grand foyer all the way to the front to shake the hands of the President and First Lady. There are so many stories. And I know my siblings and I, our children and grandchildren, along with our Uncle Kalman and our cousins, will be telling them during Shiva and for years to come. But let me conclude with just one. A little more than 3 months ago, our mother insisted that Shelley, Bobby, Jimmy, and I come over to the house to lay claim to items that we would want after 120. It was a strange event, especially since we were convinced that it was taking place at least 21 years too soon. But she was, as I've mentioned, determined. So we came, and each of us picked a few things, and she directed a few things our way as well. But then we told her that she should write everything down. Her handwriting was still impeccable, which she did. But then she added a few lines. She wrote, "To my wonderful children, by your mother, who loves all of you and wants all of you to be together and celebrate together in good health, bis 120, and God willing, to have nachas from all. You should have nachas from your children and carry on your Jewish traditions. Mom, P.S. After 120, all of you will work together to clean this house. Thank you. Love you. Mom, we loved you with all of our hearts and all of our souls. And while you lived a full and long life, for all of us, you still passed away too soon. And while in a strange way, your passing was also a bracha, a blessing. You left this world without suffering, with your head on straight, and all of your children together. We are now orphaned and in a daze, and already we miss you so very much. Please forgive us for anything we should have done better, or anything we shouldn't have done. We promise that we will continue to learn from your examples of strength, determination, love, and family, and we will remain close, as you wanted. Even though cleaning your house after you filled it with so many memories and things for the past 59 years may be a little more challenging to accomplish than you imagined. Imenu Moratenu, please be a good debater for all of us, as you are now reunited in the highest of heavens with our Father, your parents, in-laws, brother-in-law, and sisters-in-law, and my son, Yaakov Levi. Your passing leaves a gaping hole in our hearts. But as Grandma Clara taught us, and we believe with all of our hearts, Gott is gerecht in sein Mishpat is gerecht, that God is just, and his judgment, as painful as it may seem, is just. And so the only question that remains for me is next week, when I return to work, who will I call on my way to work? Who will I check in with before every trip? And who will love me, love us, as only a mother, a grandmother, great-grandmother, sister, aunt, cousin, and friend can. We miss you, we love you, and we pray that we have and will continue to learn your lessons well. Bila ha'mavet lanetzach, u'macha Hashem Elokim dimami al kol panim. May your soul be bound in the bonds of eternal life. Please rise.
El Molei Rachamim Shofein Ba'merolamim Hamatzei Menucha Nechona Tachas Kanafei Hashefyinana B'malos Kedoshim Utahorim Kizohar Harakia Mazihirim Lenishmas Imimarasi Shrinsagito Bas Yaakov Levi Shalom Leonard Babur Shekol Mishpachta B'kol HaKohal HaKodesh Hazeh Yizpalalim Yaskoros Nishmasa B'ganei Eden Tehem Menufasa Lo'achein B'al HaRachamim Yastireha b'seiser kinafo liyolamim v'yitzror ha'chayim es nishmosa Adonai hu nachalasa v'sanuach v'shalom al mishkava v'nahom amen.
O God, full of mercy, who dwells on high, grant fitting rest beneath the protective wings of the divine presence, where the souls of the holy and pure ones, whose radiances like that of the heavens reside, to the soul of our mother, Gertrude Matanky, who is won to her eternal reward. Insofar as we continue to pray for her soul, may the Garden of Eden be her resting place. For this reason, may the ever-merciful one shelter her under his protective wings forever, and may he bind her soul in lasting life, for the Lord will surely be her benefactor, so that she can rest in peace in her allotted place. And let us all say, Amen. Please be seated.
Friends, let's conclude our service here at the Shalom. The interment will take place immediately at the family plot at Shalom Memorial in Arlington Heights. Due to the schedule of the cemetery, we are going to ask everybody who wishes to go to the cemetery along with the family to please go directly to your cars. The procession before we go outside the Shalom on the North Shore heading west. In order to be in the procession, please make sure you take an orange funeral safety sticker, which can be placed on the inside windshield portion of your vehicle. For additional measure of safety, please maintain a magnetic flag to place on the rooftop portion of your vehicle. While in the procession, please make sure your bright lights and hazard lights on at all times. Please drive as closely to the car in front of you as safety permits. Please avoid talking on your cellular device while en route to the cemetery. And please use your horn liberally, especially as we go through intersections. We want to avoid any cars from entering our procession. When we arrive at the cemetery, the following individuals have been honored to serve as pallbearers: Eddie Stopek, Jonathan Stopek, Adam Stopek, Elon Heifetz, Jonah Matanky, Yitzi Matanky, Avi Matanky, Yehuda Eisenberg, Benjamin Eichberg, and Reuven Stein. Upon return from the cemetery, the family is make sure that the Matanky residence, 2950 West Pratt, Shocker at 7:30 a.m. until Margaret 8:15, and Sunday Shocker at 8:30. Please no visitors after 10 p.m. That information is available on the service folder received on the way in. And for those who are online, that information is on the funeral home website. At this time, I ask everyone to please rise as we escort the family and the rabbi from the